Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe, and I'm a sales and marketing coach and LinkedIn lead generation service provider. I work with health, life, and mindset coaches and online service-based business owners to help them get more sales, shift their time to the client-generating activities instead of just the busy work, and overcome that social media overwhelm. Let's get into the show. If you're ready to take on your next paying clients, I have good news. My free 4 Basics of Client Attraction and How to Stand Out class is live at haileyrowe.com/client-attraction. In the class, you're going to learn the top 2 traits I recommend for most coaches and entrepreneurs if they really want to turn this into a career. You're going to learn how you can build demand for your services and stop getting crickets on your posts. You're going to learn the sales roadmap I used to improve my sales conversion rate and help my clients do the same. And you're going to learn so much more. So go to haileyrowe.com/client-attraction and get your copy of the class today. And building his LinkedIn presence. And Tyler, why don't you first just share the kind of work you do and how you got into it?
Yeah. So it's kind of a long story. I was in ministry for over a decade, and I loved it. And in the process, in 2020, we all had a lot of extra time. I got my life coaching certification and started to build curriculum. And I since then I've built curriculum and started to get into life coaching and then really career development and professional development. And then I also have another side to the business that is youth ministry coaching, that to use all my experience to help young ministers maximize their talents.
Yeah, definitely. So your business has 2 branches. One is your life coaching and career coaching,
Yep.
and one is your youth ministry coaching. And sometimes when clients come to me and they have many passions and many different businesses, they have a lot of questions. So what were some of the questions or concerns or, things that you were dealing with after graduating your certification that led you to seek out a coach?
Yeah, I kind of just hit a wall. I got a lot of progress done on my website, and I was just kind of thinking I have 2 very similar but very different things, and I'm not sure that I'm hitting the target on my messaging. I'm not sure that I'm hitting the target on my freebie funnel type things, and so. When we connected on LinkedIn, I thought, okay, that's a good opportunity to sharpen. And so we connected on your free call, and it's like, well, she had a lot of really good things to say. So we went ahead and went forward with that.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because we connected on LinkedIn, and now you're using LinkedIn to connect with potential partners, potential clients. So it's a great platform. But as far as some of the confusion you had when we first started coaching, I think one of the things was messaging and making sure it's clear enough. What were some of the other things that you were really confused about or wanting to figure out during our coaching?
Honestly, pricing. I wish I could do it for free. I really wish I could do it for free. And so figuring out the price point was really hard. And I remember when I showed you my price point, you're like, you're not going to live off that. So that was really helpful. And like I said, I really would love what I do and am loving connecting with people. And so if I could do that for free, I would do it for free. That was the biggest thing other than messaging, was the pricing, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. And I remember reading your welcome workbook, and you're like, I just love doing this, and I will do it for free. And we can't have a business off of that. So
no, you can't.
Now there are things in your business. I always tell clients that you can give for free. Like, you could do an amazing free podcast and give so much value in it, or you could choose to make your business a nonprofit or be charitable. And that's cool too. But one of the things I like is helping clients
get to a place where they are charging for their services, they are working with clients, and then they're freed up to donate their time or their money or whatever to whatever it is that they want to do. So one of the things that we started with you was a little bit of a website audit. So tell me some of the tweaks or some of the aha moments or wins that you had when it comes to our work together, your website, things like that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different little things that we could go through. The website audit helped me a ton. It really helped me streamline a lot of what I was doing. So I had all the information, but it was kind of this page and then the next page and then the next page. But what we did is kind of streamline, like first thing, book a call, and then kind of here's what I do. And then, case studies or testimonial. And I still have the other subsections about and different things, and you really helped me sharpen the words and the language and the verbiage to be able to be very clear with what I do and what I offer and how I can help. So I really appreciated that on the website, and then just in general, the messaging, and then just all the different templates that you have for your email funnel, and being able to start with a freebie on your website and then have your next 7 to 10 emails just ready, and someone signs up for that and they can just be right there. That was really helpful.
Definitely. Yeah. And so you set up 2 freebies for your 2 different businesses, audited your website, got clear on the message. And then when it comes to pricing, what helped you decide and feel more confident in charging for your services?
Well, I think that if people are going to hire a coach, they know it's a luxury. And I think that in my mind, I kind of got comfortable with that, of like, I am something that is adding value to what they do. So putting a price tag on that makes sense. And so I got kind of comfortable with that. And the prices are probably still lower than they should be or could be. But I think that's kind of my heartbeat, though. Like, I really just want to help and empower people where they're at to launch forward and do things that they didn't think was possible.
Right. And one of the things that we talked about was how you can start with a certain pricing that feels a little bit of a stretch for you, but still feels you can over deliver. It feels aligned with you. You don't have to do a ton of self-coaching around it. You can say it on a sales call without getting choked up. But as you work with people and grow and get more testimonials and get more booked, you can start to raise that and you start to gain the confidence and all that kind of stuff. So we kind of went from like dirt cheap or free to, okay, let's make this our first milestone.
Right.
And one of the things too that is scary for a lot of people, and you are facing this, you have a new business. I think, how old's your baby? You have a baby, right?
Yeah. Yep. She's 9 months, going to be 10 months soon.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So you were having a new baby when we first started, and investing in your business before you're loaded and, rolling in the revenue is scary. So how did you be able to invest in yourself? Like what thoughts did you have that allowed you to be like, you know what, this is worth it, that you'd share with somebody else who's maybe scared to invest in their business or things like that?
Yeah. I think that if you're a coach or a business owner, you need to invest in yourself. And in doing that, inviting someone alongside of you, an outside perspective, can launch you forward. And I, as a coach, 100% believe that I can help someone outside of me. So kind of thinking through that lens, I was like, okay, I need someone to help me maximize what I'm doing. Like, this on its own is fine. It's okay. But I really want to take it to that next level. And so when you reached out on LinkedIn, it was over a couple of different months, because having a newborn kind of takes a lot of time. But when you reached out, it was like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And I do need that outside perspective. And I think what really drove me across the finish line with booking you is when we had that call, and you gave me about 5 things that were useful pieces of information that I was like, okay, if this is for free, what is the paid version look like? And so that's what really got me across the finish line.
Yeah. And I appreciate you for sharing that, because coaches who are new, who maybe want to start building up their network, it's about building the value and the connection with your audience. And we had been building our connection. We'd been communicating a little bit here and there. We had our consult, that kind of thing. So one of the things now that you're doing is building your community, your relationships. So tell us
Yep.
a little bit about what are some of the marketing things that you're doing now that we've worked together and, locally and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you mentioned LinkedIn. And so, yeah, I have a strategy on LinkedIn to connect with different youth ministers. My strategy right now is online. I'm mainly focused on youth ministry. That's really what I want to put my Instagram towards, my Facebook towards, and my LinkedIn towards. And then locally, and just connectivity wise, using my career development side of my business, just because it's the people that I know, and kind of going through all of those connections, and then going through people that they know, that I know, that they know, so I can connect with people that already know my work, know who I am, and can put the stamp of approval on me. A couple weeks ago, I had lunch with a CEO who was an elder at our church, and he's a fantastic dude. And he gave me 6 names of people, and said he did email introductions, and I think 5 of them reached out. And so,
Amazing.
yeah, so that was a really cool thing to be able to do. So both online with LinkedIn, and then locally, just going with the connections I have to see what's out there, and then see who they know.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things we talked about is how do you approach those conversations, and, what do you say, and that kind of thing. And one thing we did a little bit in WhatsApp back and forth is you would send me like what a person said, and we'd be like, well, how do we nurture this conversation? Right. So is there anything as far as going forward with networking or discovery calls or things like that you feel more confident with, or that tweaked, that you had an aha moment around, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think that at first I was kind of nervous, especially with the personal connections. With LinkedIn, it was kind of shoot your shot, whatever, and then you want to be intentional about it, and that you really helped me figure out, okay, I want to start with value and then lead them into a conversation, right? So ask a question, their response, start with value, book a call. That's kind of what I got from what we talked about. But then on the local side, it was, people that I know. That's kind of like feels kind of awkward, because it's like, I know you and I'm not really trying to use you, but I also am wanting to make a connection for my business, whether you know somebody or whatever. So I actually, in one of my meetings, the aha came when I actually said, I'm sorry, I feel kind of awkward saying this. And they said, you shouldn't. Like, I didn't even think about this as a possibility. So you really shouldn't feel that way. I should feel bad because I didn't think of how I could help you. And that was really helpful for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're getting more reps under your belt, more meetings, more conversations. And one of the things that I love about you is you're so value driven. And sometimes it's good for us to have like somebody else looking over our process, because sometimes you'd message me after you had like a networking meeting or something, and And I'd be like, well, did you ask him this? And you'd be like, oh, I'll ask that in the follow-up meeting or
Yep.
something. So I think that it's awesome what you're doing. And now take us through what you're doing now. You just told me you were writing a book. So
Yeah.
fast
Yeah.
forward now, tell us what you're up to, what you're excited about, all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
So, man, I'm really excited. I just actually finished my book, and I have got it printed, and I got it sent back to me for more edits. You don't always know how it looks until you get the copy. So I got a physical copy. I'm making the last edits. It'll probably be out in the next couple months. I'm shooting for late November, early December. It's called Maximize Your Leadership. And it's in 3 parts: unpack, reset, and relaunch. And that's kind of I'm just really excited about that book. And then the other, I actually don't know that I told you that I started another book. I have a workbook that I've written, and I'm kind of working backwards on that. I wrote the workbook first, and then I'm writing the book based on the workbook. But that one's also in 3 sections, and this is way more my life coaching stuff, whereas the Maximize Your Leadership is more in the ministry side, which, I mean, it could be helpful for anybody, but it's more geared towards ministers, whereas the life coaching book, which I'm really excited about this title, Rise Beyond Your Limits, A Path to Self-Awareness and Growth.
Love that.
And I have it in 3 parts: self-awareness, growth, and overcoming your limiting beliefs. And like I said, I already have the workbook done. Just need to continue working on the book. And beyond that, I'm meeting with clients and helping them go through really those things, working through their self-awareness, their growth goals, different things, and then launching towards going past their barriers and going past their limits. So that's kind of what I'm up to now. And I'm excited about all of it, really.
That's so awesome. And there's kind of 2 things I want to highlight there. One is when you presented your book to us, you kind of broke down the parts or the pillars or the systems. And in your coaching program, one thing I do with clients when we're creating your offer is create what's your framework, or what's your differentiators, or what's your acronym that's going to help you communicate in a clear way and catchy way, like the tangibility of your coaching. Yeah. So is there anything you want to share about your programs that, can help us see your process or things like that?
Yeah. So kind of the things that we've worked towards together was just the different ways to approach those topics. And for youth ministry, I share how to build a sustainable youth ministry. And so we take 8 different topics, or not topics, but like pillars, like you said, and unpack a sustainable youth ministry, going from self-care all the way to curriculum to developing your leaders, recruiting your leaders, all sorts of different pillars that we can unpack and build a sustainable ministry together in their context. And for the life coaching side of things, it's also 8, but just different 8. And we kind of we unpack values. Like you said, I'm value driven. I really believe everyone's value driven. Just different values motivate them. And if you're motivated by what others think, that will make you do certain things. And if you're motivated by justice, that will motivate you to live your life a certain way. If you're motivated, just anything that you are motivated by comes down to what you value. And so I think that is kind of getting off topic a little bit. I'm a talker, but yeah, that I think is a huge one, that you understand your values, because when you understand what motivates you, you can start really launching forward. And sometimes it's hard to see that. So that's one of them. And then passions and talents. So I really think people lack self-awareness. And knowing your values is a big deal. And then knowing your passions and talents. And it's like when people ask me my passion, I think of, oh, I want to watch football, or I want to, like I don't think about what I'm passionate about doing all automatically. Like, it's not like, oh, this is my work. I think about sports or IU basketball, yeah. So that's kind of the self-awareness side, and then growth side of goal setting and finding a mentor, and then working on your self-talk, because I think that's a huge barrier for people, is their self-talk, because they have learned that they talk to themselves very poorly, and if you beat yourself up a ton, how do you shift that? And so I go through that with my stuff too. So that's a lot of words to say that I have 8 pillars for each, and they're different pillars, and I'm very passionate about helping people figure those out so they can launch forward.
I love it. Yeah. And one of the other things that I wanted to highlight based on what you were saying before is that when it comes to marketing, like, so you were saying, you have your lead magnets, you're networking locally and getting warm intros, you're doing your LinkedIn lead gen, and every client is different. And every client has different strengths and values and time that they can commit to their business. And so when we were creating your marketing plan or your protocol, which is kind of like your weekly steps for your marketing, we didn't put, okay, Tyler, you need to be tackling Instagram and Facebook and one of the last things we were starting to do together recently was like getting you ready to be on podcasts, because you're very good at connecting with people and you like, I mean, it seems that you like talking and, sharing and bringing value, and that feels good for you. So finding a marketing plan that you align with, that aligns with your strengths, is important. What would you say to somebody who maybe feels like they, are struggling to figure out their values to lead within their business, or what kind of marketing aligns with their strengths, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, figuring out their values as a business is a big deal. I would start with just asking a few questions of, why do you exist? What is your purpose? And you figure out those types of things. And then, what was the second part of that? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just was asking kind of, what would you say to somebody who can't find, their values, and or what marketing aligns with those values and strengths?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I would say the second part of that is just, I mean, if you can't find something that aligns with your values and strengths, I think that is something that you would book a coach for and try and navigate what would be the best job and best way with how you're wired. Maybe it is LinkedIn. Maybe it is you just need to get comfortable with adding connections. Maybe it's you need to get comfortable with getting into the community some way or a form, depending on your business. I think it'll be different for everybody, but I think, again, like I said, hiring a coach to share your context would really be beneficial to help you figure that out and know what's best.
Yeah. And was there anything in particular that you liked about my coaching approach, or what was involved in the coaching, or anything like that?
Yeah. I really liked our sessions. I thought I got everything. I got a lot out of the sessions. Because it was all business for that hour, like, hey, what do we need to get? Boom, boom, boom. And we knocked it out. And then, if there was ever anything urgent and we had something planned, and I was like, hey, can we talk about this first? She said, absolutely. And we'd knock it out, and then we'd go to what we planned if we had time. And I really appreciated that, because sometimes it's hard to do that. It's hard to shift on the fly. And so I was really, especially with some of these bigger topics, but you were able to really help me and shift towards the needs that I had in the time and the moment. And then also the support you had through the WhatsApp. Like you said, if I had a question about a LinkedIn conversation or a meeting that I had, you were able to be like, hey, ask this, or maybe shift how you ask that. And that was super, super helpful for me. And because it's not like you don't come from an approach of like, hey, I know everything. It's more of, hey, have you thought of this? And I appreciate that because I've worked with some people that just like, hey, do it this way. And, you know,
Yeah. There's no one size fits all. And I think we both believe that and use customization with our clients. So what is next for you, Tyler? I know you mentioned the book, but tell us more about what's next for you. What's exciting for you?
Yeah. So like I said, continued writing. I'm definitely going to get on some podcasts like this one and get my name out there that way. I am going to relaunch my podcast. To be determined when exactly, but I've got a lot of notes for different podcasts. And then, just continue to reach out on LinkedIn and get clients and hopefully make strong connections with churches and individuals and help them get past their limits.
I love it. Amazing. Where can people connect with you, check out your podcast freebies, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so cadwellscoaching.com. It's CADWELL, and then S. There it is right there, Cadwell's Coaching.
Yes, if you're watching the video, he has a nice little sign.
Yeah, if you're watching the video, you can see it in my background. That.com, you get my freebie on, there's 10 questions to career satisfaction and joy. And then if you're in youth ministry, it's the 3 steps for prevention, burnout prevention. You can get those. And then if you want to follow me on Instagram or find me on LinkedIn or Facebook, it's just Tyler Cadwell or Cadwell's Coaching. You can find me under both. I share a lot of what I'm doing on my personal account, but mainly the Cadwell's Coaching account. And if you're looking to connect, I'd love to connect and learn your story and hear what's going on.
Yeah, love it. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, Tyler.
Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. And if it's really helpful for you, I'd really appreciate if you share it and or leave a written podcast review. This tells the podcast sites that our show is useful and it will be promoted to more people that way. Thanks again.